Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Awa, and I'm here on behalf of FBW Magazine. My guest today is none other than the up-and-coming broadcaster, Lmaster. He will be featured in the second edition of FBW Magazine. Hello, Lmaster. How are you doing today?
I am doing quite fantastic on this evening.
Yeah, pretty late at night for me. Not so much evening anymore.
Yeah, kind of same for me. It's like, I don't know, 1 o'clock or something like that, but yeah.
Alright, so for anyone who doesn't know who you are, could you tell us a little bit about yourself, about the man behind the scenes?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I came to like TL in 2009, I think it was. Because I don't know, I just like played a friend in StarCraft, and like I hadn't played the game in forever, and he like, raped the living daylights out of me doing some build. I don't know, he just probably did like some ridiculous like 3 Gate Zealots or something, killed me. So I like tried to find some builds, and I found Team Liquid, and then I was on Team Liquid for like, I don't know, 6 months before I ever even found a Brood War stream. And then I found like a Brood War stream, like the pro games, and I was hooked. And then ever since then, it's just been like getting involved with this community and just the people in it, and like seeing the close knitness and like the things people in this community do for each other, and reading some of those things. I don't know, I was thinking of like the kid who got like stranded in Europe, and like people like he found like a TLer who like hooked him up with a job and stuff like that for a while, and then like the found Manifesto 7 thread, if you haven't read that. Just I don't know, I just love this community, and I've loved the game as well. So
Alright, so as most people would know, you are basically on the stepping stones of the Brood War commentary scene, as you've done a little bit of work in D-Rank's Team League, and now you're stepping into Gambit's Cup and the ISL type action at the top of the foreign scene. So how do you feel about casting in at this stage in general, at the higher levels?
To be honest, it's pretty exciting, although it's kind of nerve-wracking at the same time, in the sense of like when I started casting D-Rank's Team League, it was just kind of like, all right, I'm going to cast this, and just to make it a little more fun for everyone. It kind of gives a cool feel to it when you've got people like actually casting your games and stuff, and everyone enjoyed that. And then I don't know, I guess people thought the casting was not bad enough that I could go ahead and cast for some of the higher level events. But it's kind of nerve-wracking in the sense that especially for a while before I got into it, I hadn't followed the foreigns. Like I loosely followed it, but only very loosely, so I didn't know a lot of the players. And as well, just because I'm only a D+ player, my knowledge is kind of not the strongest. So it was a little nerve-wracking, getting up and starting casting. But I'm just making my best effort to learn the scene and continue to learn about the game, so I can, not spew all kinds of information while still having a pretty entertaining cast, which is what I'm trying to go. And as always, I'm always 100% open to feedback about anything. Like, I'm just trying to get better and bring you guys a better service. So any of the feedback you give me and I can use is fantastic.
Alright, so my next question was comparing the two. You started off in D-Rank's Team League, and I want to know, like, how did you like that compared to what you're doing now? And you're still going to be doing some of the lower level stuff, right?
I do, yeah. I intend to when I have the time, yeah.
And I believe you're casting C-Rank's Team League as well?
I'll probably do a little bit, but there's also a couple other casters. S2 Glow wanted to cast a little bit, as well as the newly reformed IC Cup TV. So I'm also going to let them do a lot of that, just to get, so they get a chance at their own exposure.
All right. Yeah. So the question is, how do the two compare in general?
Between like casting, say, D-Rank's Team League and like something like Gambit's Cup.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like for the D-Rank's Team League, it's definitely a little bit more relaxed. You can be a little less professional in that sense, and then it's easier for me just because when you're casting like D-Rank's Team League, you can say a lot more like really general stuff that it's pretty easy for like a D+ player to have correct, like constantly produce probes or things like that. But if you are constantly saying that on like a Gambit's Cup cast, it's just going to sound silly because most of the people watching have an idea, and they're just going to be like, duh, we know this, you don't need to tell us this. So there's that difference, and then it's just both they're fun for different reasons. Like Gambit's Cup's fun because you're casting the high level stuff, and they're interesting games most of the time. And D-Rank's Team League is fun. The games aren't always the most interesting, although sometimes they're interesting because they're just goofy. But it's awesome too because you're getting to provide this service and make it so much fun for everyone that's involved in the league, and just like feeding off that, it's a lot of fun to do those kind of casts as well, even if the games aren't as high of a level.
All right, fantastic. In terms of difficulty, how would you rate starting off as a caster?
I guess it sort of depends on where you're coming from. Like for me, I don't know. People seem to think that I did a good job with like enthusiasm and stuff like that. Like they said, the cast was kind of like interesting. It's just the difficult part for me as a lower level player is always going to be like I can't like try and give a bunch of high level analysis because I'm just going to sound stupid and say a bunch of stuff that's wrong. So it's a matter of, I guess it depends on where you are in your knowledge of Brood War and like what kind of cast you're trying to deliver. Like if you want to do day 9 style casting and you're a D plus player and you're not naturally like good at being super entertaining, you're probably going to like struggle when you're starting off just because you don't have the knowledge for the analysis, and if you're not used to like trying to be entertaining or fill conversational gaps, it's kind of tough.
What got you interested in casting Brood War?
What got me interested in casting Brood War? Pretty much D-Rang's Team League, to be honest, because there's no one doing it, and I was like, this event's kind of cool, and actually very cool in and of itself. But I was like, all right, so no one's casting. I've got time. Might as well do some casting for this and make it a heck of a lot more fun and kind of official feeling for everyone. And I just think it made the league, at least a little bit more interesting of a league.
Yep, indeed it did. So that was your first real cast experience then?
Yeah, that's correct.
Alright. So, would you encourage other people who have interest in trying it out to just go for it? And if so, like, would you have any advice for them, being as you just recently went through kind of like the same process,
Yeah.
I guess?
Yeah. I mean, why not go for it? I mean, if it, I don't think it's ever good to just be like always worried about, oh, are people going to hate this cast? Am I going to be any good? Just go for it and see what the feedback is. And if you get feedback that isn't quite what you hope for, take it. See what you're doing in your cast, take a look at it, modify it, and try to get better. But, there's always going to be people, and especially with, like, things like D-Rank's Team League and C-Rank's Team League, there's a lot more, like, low-pressure environments now to cast. You don't have to be like, oh, God, I have to cast, like, the ISL and do a good job on it, and it's my first time ever casting. So you've got these opportunities, look for them, or even just make, like, a little cast on YouTube and say, hey, here's my first attempt at casting. What do you guys think? What can you give me for feedback? And just go from there. But absolutely, go for it.
Alright, so do you have any shoutouts or anything to make?
This one's hard because it's pretty much everybody. I mean, the biggest shout out for me is just to the whole like foreign Brood War community. Just like everybody that's involved in this community is so awesome. That's made everything happen. I mean, there's literally 100, 150 names just off the top of my head I could name. So I just want to give a big shout out to everybody that's helped participate in this community, because you guys really are what has drawn me into this game as much as I've gotten involved with it.
Alright, so thanks for the interview, and once again, everybody, this is Lmaster, who's one of the main casters for ISL at the moment and Gambit's Cup. He does an even part in both of those leagues with Hacklebeast, who you should check both these casters out on the weekends. You could, if you're online during the weekend, you'll probably run into one of them at some given time. So this is the second edition of FBW magazine, and more to come. So thanks for the interview once again. And
good stuff, man. Yeah.